Hello and welcome. Today I get to talk about one of my absolute favourite films ever. This is 2008's Pontypool, the most innovative, strangest, creepiest take on the zombie genre in a very, very long time. I'm Sandy Nicholson and this is Perfect Scares. I love this film. I adore it. It's tense and funny and extraordinarily unsettling. It has big ideas, but also the finesse to make them small enough to get your tongue around. It's exciting and thoughtful and kind of quietly inspiring in a very do not go gentle into that good night sort of way. I love it. I've put a spoiler warning up and I'm going to talk about some of the things that are unique about it, but honestly I'm not sure this is a film that can really be spoiled. If it was me, I would say don't worry about it, but if you know you're particularly spoiler averse, watch the film first.
Keep an eye out for crazy ladies in the snow, and remember, wherever you're headed, get there safe.
There's an idea in storytelling that says that the best concepts break one thing, meaning that it's better to take an established idea and change one thing about it than it is to change 7 things. This lets you better get the most out of those differences and not overwhelm people, and it's a pretty good rule of thumb. Now, Pontypool breaks quite a few things, and we're going to talk a bit about how it's able to do that so successfully, and the main way it does this is to take giant ideas and make them small.
Grant, I'm watching literally hundreds of people packed in and around this building, and it looks pretty odd from up here. They seem to be trying to cram themselves inside. Oh, whoa!
What's happening, Ken?
At the start, Pontypool is a zombie film, the twist being that all the action takes place in a radio booth as the broadcasters are being fed information about all the insanity going on outside.
People are getting trampled. These people are getting killed out there. Oh! Ah!
It's a nice concept, a very micro approach to something we've seen a lot of times at a macro level.
You know, the French philosopher Roland Barthes once described trauma as a news photo without a caption, and that, folks, is what I think we have here now.
But after that, things take a very strange turn.
For your safety, please avoid contact with close family members and refrain from the following. All terms of endearment, such as honey or
Sydney?
sweetheart.
Yeah, Bob, what's up?
Talk with young children and rhetorical discourse. For greater safety, please avoid the English language. Please do not translate this message.
The assumption that the audience is familiar with zombie movies is part of the game. We've come to this with a sort of schematic, conceptual blueprint of how we think things are going to go. And the fact that we're only hearing the audio means that by necessity our imagination tries to fill in the gaps and picture what they're describing as it aligns with those blueprints.
Now, we are also hearing about a herd. Well, that's how it's being described, a herd of people.
But then the absolute specificity of the strangeness is like a hook. It yanks us back. It tells us that every time we think we have got a handle on what's going on, we absolutely do not. As these weird ideas start to filter into the film, it would be really easy for it to become overwhelming, but the details are so specific that they're fiercely grounding.
But their 2 young children have been trapped in their car under a mountain.
Okay, apparently, Grant, I'm being told by Rachel Jones that these people were imitating windshield wipers.
This is what's
They're making
being
the sound of
reported to
windshield
us.
wipers.
They force our imagination to give up, and instead we just listen in horror at the sheer incomprehensible nature of what's going on. And all of this builds and builds and builds and builds until we get to this scene.
Did you get?
Hello?
Did you get that? Ken? Did you get? I'm sending you some audio with my phone.
Oh, thank God. Ken, are you there?
Did you get that?
No, Ken, I didn't get it. I don't get anything right now.
Okay. I'm gonna try that again. Okay, listen, and keep in mind. Picture this. This is what you're about to hear is coming from Mary Galt's big teenage boy. He's lying here in the dark with his body. It's broken to pieces, and his wrists. I can see them. They're stumps. They're not stumps. They're pointing up at his sides.
No, Grant, what are we doing?
Listen. sounds like there's a child is screaming inside his breath.
Is this actually happening, Ken?
Easy, Grant, easy.
All right. That was our own Ken Loney. What? That was our own Ken Loney.
You're on the radio, ain't you?
Interviewing
You're on the radio, you big...
a screaming baby coming from Mary Galt's eldest son's last dying gasp.
Fantasy in the morning. Grant.
What?
Grant. Fishing, we're going fishing.
It was a little baby, a tiny little baby.
Grant.
What?
It just gives me the absolute chills, and it's a scene that has stuck with me ever since. Now, where the film goes after this is pretty divisive. I know a lot of people who jumped off at this point, but I personally love it to death. It involves a semiotic virus that infects terms of endearment within the English language. It's a vast and bold skewer to the paradigmatic way we try to understand the stories that are told to us, as well as specifically cracking open the broad simplicity of the metaphors other zombie movies wield.
Everybody talks about Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead or 28 Days Later, whatever. They talk about it in terms of it being this, it's really a metaphor for, clearly blah, 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 A is B, of whatever communism or Red Menace or global warming, whatever it is that does that, right? To me, it's always been, here's the setup, here's the metaphor, here's the thing coming at you, la, la, la. But it's really a metaphor for metaphors that keep hunting you long after they've been meaningful. They keep coming at you. Right? And so that's the thing that's always been interesting to me, is there figures of speech that become predatory long after their sort of meaning as figures of speech have sort of left the stage.
But don't let that make you think this is an intellectual film. It mostly isn't. It's scary and gory and funny and tense and grotesque and just heaps of fun. Thank you for watching. I would love to hear what you all think of this film. I've been talking about it for 13 years now, and I'll be talking about it for 13 more. I didn't even get onto the book it's based on. Oh my God, what a weird, unwieldy masterpiece. I did want to go out, though, by just taking a minute to acknowledge the genius of the opening. If you can listen to this opening and not immediately go face first, mouth open towards this film, there may not be anything wrong with you per se, but you and I are very different people. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Mrs. French's cat is missing. The signs are posted all over town. Have you seen Honey? We've all seen the posters, but nobody has seen Honey the cat. Nobody. Until last Thursday morning, when Miss Colette Piscine swerved her car to miss Honey the cat as she drove across a bridge. Well, this bridge, now slightly damaged, is a bit of a local treasure and even has its own fancy name, Pont de Flac. Now, Colette, that sounds like culotte. That's panty in French. And piscine means pool, Pontypool. Flac also means pool in French, so Colette Piscine in French Pontypool drives over the Pont de Flac, the Pontypool, if you will, to avoid hitting Mrs. French's cat that has been missing in Pontypool. 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 Pont de Flac. What does it mean? Well, Norman Mailer, he had an interesting theory that he used to explain the strange coincidences in the aftermath of the JFK assassination. In the wake of huge events after them and before them, physical details, they spasm for a moment, they sort of unlock, and when they come back into focus, they suddenly coincide in the weird way. Street names and birth dates and middle names, all kind of superfluous things appear related to each other. It's a ripple effect. So, what does it mean? Well, it means something's going to happen. Something big. But then, something's always about to happen.